Welcome back to Snackcast.
What's up, people?
What's going down?
Let me start our timer.
Yeah, this is a big one today, man. We'll probably go over. So, continuing with Dr. Ken Berry in Lies My Doctor Told Me.
Yeah, man. So this is a good one. I'll go ahead and read the lie. Exposure to sunlight causes skin cancer. To decrease the risk of skin cancer, you should stay out of the sun as much as possible. If you must be in the sun, then you should wear lots of high SPF sunscreen to protect yourself. You should even wear sunscreen when you're inside if you will be exposed to sunlight from windows. What do you think about this one?
Right out of the gate, and those that are out there that don't believe what I believe will probably be, he's taking the religious point of view. No, anything given to us by the Creator is not bad for you. That's the first thing that comes to my brain, right? But there is scientific fact backing up what we're about to say.
If I can speak to that real quickly, there are snakes that are bad for you. There are, but I think what you're getting at is anything so readily available, literally, it is the cause of all life.
On this planet.
Right.
And to think that the cause of all life on this planet could be a cause of an illness is just it's mind-boggling to me. So he basically comes out and he says that there are two propitiations of this lie. Should I use that word?
I have no idea.
There are two organizations that basically power this lie. Okay. It's the American Society for Dermatological Surgery and the American Academy of Dermatology that both come out and say this. And anytime we have research like this, or actually there's not even research, this is an opinion from them, I often go to the fox guarding the hen house.
Right.
Who benefits from this money trail? And obviously dermatologists, right? And I think I don't know if it was in this chapter or another one, he actually went out and talked about how dermatologists, even if they are super honest and super ethical and everything else, how they can kind of tend to go that direction of...
Well, yeah, because I mean, it'd be human nature. I think number one, they always want to guard against the worst possible outcome. Mm-hmm. So often, I don't want to say often, but I do believe that there's times when a regular bumper lesion is probably labeled
precancerous.
Well, true story, man, and I think I've shared it before. My wife was at the doctor for her regular appointment. She got a splinter. We were doing some woodworking. And her doctor says, hey, I'll send you down the hall. I'll have them take that out. She goes down the hall, and the dermatologist says, we have to biopsy that. She's like, no, you don't. It's a splinter. And he's like, how do you know it's a splinter? And she's like, because I was there when I got it.
Right.
And I'll be darned if they didn't biopsy the stinking thing. And again, in the name of precaution, I get that might be an honest play. But I know there's a hidden incentive.
They also get paid 8x for...
ton more.
For the biopsy, right? Dermatologists, I think he said, get anywhere from like $500 for a biopsy versus a general appointment of like $75. Right. So if they say, oh, you're fine, go off and have your day, the doctor's missing out on $400.
So even the purest of heart, right? Will
that looks precancerous. Let's label that as precancerous. We'll send it off to biopsy.
It's protecting the patient.
It's protecting the patients, and I make more money. It's a win-win scenario. So, again, not bashing them, but there's a tendency for something to be labeled precancerous, right? So let's get to the heart of it again. Vitamin D is absolutely necessary for thousands of biological processes in your body, right? What's happened in the last 40 years to explode skin cancer rates in the last 40 years? What's happened?
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. Eat less fat and get out of the sun.
Right.
the two main sources of vitamin D, natural sources.
And most people, God, I prevented myself from getting engaged in a Facebook conversation. You'd be proud of me. I didn't get engaged this weekend. I had a friend of mine on Facebook said, public service announcement. They always, label it the PSA. 5 years since my skin cancer removal, and blah 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 blah. And take sunscreen, stay out of the sun. Nothing about her poor diet. Right. Nothing about her. So
let's talk real quick about some of the statistics that he references.
Well, first of all, there's no research, right, that connects the sun to cancer at all.
It's actually
inverted.
Common sense and research demonstrates the opposite. The closer you get to the equator, where the sun is the most intense and people are outdoors the most.
Right.
There's the least frequency. As you move north away from the equator, the frequency goes up, goes up, goes up, goes up.
Right. I mean, Africans have worn no clothing, right? No clothing. I mean, what, 95% non-clothed?
Especially if you look historically over time.
Like Adam and Eve, right? Like no clothing, and have the lowest incidence of skin cancer in the world. Right. Right? The other thing was a major U.S. study was done that showed that people who actually work outdoors have a lot higher incidence or a lot lower incidence of skin cancer than people who worked indoors, right? And then
it relates to other diseases.
Right. Probably the main one that keeps coming to mind to me is that melanoma, if it was caused by exposure to the sun, would be very easy to prove. You'd have higher incidence of melanoma on areas like the face or on the arms, or constant exposure to those areas to the sun would cause even more of those incidences. And it doesn't happen.
Right.
So it's like
always chest, back, abdomen. Yeah. Not always, but it's a high frequency of...
Right. Occasionally you have somebody that had something taken off on their face, blah, 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 right? So, yeah, I mean, the geographic location one gets me. If you look at that map, I'll see if we can't put that in there, or you can look in the book, or geographic melanoma rates throughout the world. It's unbelievable how you can look at it and go, something else is wrong. So the more you get away from the sun, right, the less incidence of skin cancer there actually is.
Right. And it's, again, it goes back, it's westernized cultures, Western societies that are seeing this massive uptick. So what does the common sense tell you, right? Food, highly processed food supply. Again, the indoors. We love our comfort. We love our air conditioning. I go outside a lot. So do you. It's fairly evident, right? But it's it's an American tendency, at least, to hang out inside and play the Xbox or do whatever.
Especially in winter, or in where again, the closer you get to the equator and the more UV rays. That's the other myth. Like, the ozone layers decrease so much that it's really just. Well, the closer you get to the equator, the higher the UVs would actually be, and the lower incidence that you actually see of skin cancer.
Right. So that was really the big thing. I think the big takeaway was that it's really not the sun. It's the roof. The roof analogy, right? Where if you build a roof with shoddy building supplies and the roof fails, do you blame the contractor or the shoddy roofing supplies? Right?
Right.
And he makes that argument that the skin replenishes itself, every
2 months?
2 months.
Every 2 months.
And that's dandruff. It's dying and falling away constantly.
Right. Your largest organ in your body is your skin, and it replaces itself every 2 months.
So what are you feeding it to replenish
What
itself?
Are those building blocks? What are those roofing supplies that creates that? And here's the good news. It replaces itself every 2 months. You have an opportunity to fix this.
Oh, yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Getting back to it, what's the Western diet? It's processed sugars, it's processed foods, it's processed oils.
High carb.
High wheat content, right?
Yep.
Gosh, he talks about him. He goes, I'm fair-skinned. He goes, I go out too much and too long prolonged exposure in the sun and I get burned, and that's not fun.
Yeah. Well, he even warns against, that getting burned to the point of causing peeling or severe peeling,
I don't know
could be. But going back to your alphabet agencies you mentioned earlier, there's no research connecting that a severe burn and peeling. Right.
Connect. And cancer rates. Right.
It could be. I don't think he's claiming it's not, but there's no research to demonstrate that.
Skin. So wearing hats, SPF use is up, sunscreen is up, and cancer rates continue to climb.
Right.
What's in the food?
Again, look over the last 10,000 years. How have we changed? We didn't have sunscreen. We wore very little clothes. And frankly, the closer we could get to the equator, the better.
Right. Because
we didn't have heat.
Right. But again, going back to the organ, the skin is the number one organ, and it's trying. It's no different than your colon or your kidneys. It's trying to get this crap out of your body. It's trying to get all these toxins out of your body and expel them, and it does that through perspiration and, again, your skin falling off and all these other different methods that I don't even understand.
Is it falling off?
But yet somehow we want to block that in with sunscreen. Yeah. We want to cover it up to prevent that from actually happening.
Dude, it's a big industry if you're trying to bring them down.
I'm not trying to bring it down. I'm just saying don't follow the BS.
And I think about it, and we can wrap this up soon, but I think about when I was a kid, dude, my mother would rub down with the oil. Let's accelerate the burn.
Right. The copper tone baby, man.
She had that old plastic folding chair, and she'd go out in the backyard and she'd lather up in that stuff and intentionally burn. Not that that's a great example of anything other than how culture can change so fast that the idea of actually using oil now, people would think,
oh gosh, no way.
Right. If you don't look ghostly with your white.
Yeah, maybe those seed oils and soybean oils and vegetable oils are being extruded.
We're gonna need a
linguist,
translator,
right? It's taken out through your skin. Maybe that's what's burning. Is you got literal Crisco on your skin.
Well, Crisco large, not bad. It's Crisco canola oil.
Right.
So, all right, let's wrap this up. He gave really interesting homework in this one.
Yeah,
and it wasn't a book. It's not a website. He recommended send an email to these agencies and ask them to please see the research that shows the sun causes skin cancer.
Yep.
And he said what you're going to get back, because he's done it, is pamphlets and documentation of their opinions. But he said if you look for the facts, the data-driven research, they're not going to send you any. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. See what I get back.
All right.
So that it?
That's
good?
It. I'm good.
This was a long one, but it's one that we care about. We enjoy the sun. We go out in it a lot. And, I encourage, they've shown there's mental health studies that, kids that are raised with outdoor hobbies do so much better long-term in life.
I mean, look what they recommended in COVID, right? I mean, go out and get your vitamin D. But, yeah, let's shut down the beaches.
Yeah, stay inside.
Yeah.
Idiots. So, questions, comments, concerns, hit us at snackcast@yes.fit.
Stay moving.
See ya.